I read 12 books this month and I want to talk all about them right now. Hi guys, my name is Katie. Thank you for joining me today. Today we are talking about my August reads. So this month I felt, hopefully it's not too echoing here for you, but I felt like I did really well with the books that I read, and I feel like they were all kind of in the beginning of the month and I went through them like crazy. So I wanted to talk about each one individually and tell you what I thought. I actually don't have any of them physically, well, I do, but I'm not gonna go get them right now because they're all the way on the other side of the house. I'm filming this at night because I just discovered that it's the end of August and like I have to get things going. I don't think I'll finish any more books specifically this month. So we're gonna just stick with the 12 that I've read. Let us jump right into it. So the first book I read was The Silent Patient. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, probably more like a 3.5 out of 5. This was a psychological thriller, and I wanted to change things up a little bit because I'm so used to reading like spicy romance books, and I wanted to get kind of a little different. So this is about a woman who supposedly killed her husband and got caught, and she doesn't speak, goes to an insane asylum, doesn't speak to anyone, so no one knows what's going on. And then this man who is a psychologist comes in and tries to help her, and it's kind of the story about that. We get a little bit about the man's backstory, and we get a little bit about, I think her name's Alicia. Yeah, Alicia Berenson. We get a little bit about her backstory and how they connect, and there is a plot twist, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 because I saw the plot twist coming and it didn't surprise me at all. I just wasn't super into it the whole time. Like, I had a hard time getting into the book in general. I know a lot of people love this book, so this is just my opinion. Please remember that. It was good, and if you like psychological thrillers, definitely pick it up because I feel like everyone's talking about it, so give it a try. Listen to it on audiobook, even though I have it physically. The next book was Beautiful Bombshell. This is Beautiful Bastard 2.5. This is by Christina Lauren. It's from the Beautiful Bastard series. It is a small novella, so it was a pretty quick read. Listen to it on audiobook, but I really enjoy this series in general, especially when it comes to Bennett and Chloe. There's something about that relationship that just gets me. So I wanted to continue the series. I don't know if I'll read the next couple ones, but definitely read Beautiful Bastard #1 if you are into like billionaire kind of enemies to lovers kind of brat situation. It was so good. Spicy, very spicy. Warning. I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. I think I'm getting this mixed up with the next one. Yes, I am. So this one wasn't as good as what I'm going to talk about in a second. This one also had like a back and forth between characters. I didn't love it as much just because it had Max in it. Didn't like Max as much. Just, he was like a voyeur, and they have like public interactions. Not my favorite, but 3 stars out of 5 stars. The next book I read was The Never King, literally by Nikki St. Croix. Literally, while I was reading this, I was laughing out loud because of how ridiculous the dialogue inside this girl's head was. This is a book like an offshoot of Peter Pan, but a spicy version, and like Peter Pan older. And I just felt like the dialogue in her head or her thoughts were just so weird. I wish I highlighted some of it because it was just, who says these things? I give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I want to read the second one. I actually have it, but I just haven't got to it yet. And I've heard that it's not as good as the first one. So this was another quick read. It was only like 200 pages. Pretty good. I would say you could read it. It's probably a good read for the fall just because it's kind of like more dark romance. I don't know if romance is involved, but yeah, this one was about Wendy's great granddaughter Winnie and her interactions with Peter Pan. Next book, everyone has been reading this book, is Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. This is definitely a dark romance like pretty intense scenes, like kind of gory, kind of brutal, lots of trigger warnings. But this is about a woman who's on the run from her abusive brother who died and being blamed for his death. And she meets this man in Australia while she's on the run. They get stranded on this island with this random man in a lighthouse, and it's just the story of them living there. Like, they can't get rescued for like a month because the boat only comes to the lighthouse island like once a month. And it is disturbing. I gave this a 3.3 out of 5 stars just because this isn't my typical trope. Like, the violence got me too much. It was a lot. I do want to read her other books, the Cat and Mouse duet, the Haunting and Hunting Adeline duet, but I don't know if I'm going to love it just because violence is a lot to handle sometimes. So just beware of the trigger warnings, the content warnings. It was good. It was kind of like a fun read. I don't know if it was fun, but it was different. We'll say that. So then I went to Beautiful Player, which is Beautiful Bastard series number 3 book. Again, it wasn't my favorite just because it just wasn't my kind of trope. Like, I honestly don't think I paid much attention to this book when I was reading it. I literally couldn't tell you what it was about, and I just read the premise. Still don't know. I know it was a lot of spice. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Like, there's not much to say about it. I still am stuck on the Bennett-Chloe relationship, so like all these offshoot characters just aren't doing it for me, you know? But then I read Beautiful Beginning, which is Beautiful Bastard 3.5. Loved it. 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know why I didn't give it 5 out of 5 because I did truly enjoy it. It's literally just spice. Like, the whole book is just spice. It's about Bennett and Chloe, my favorite couple, and I think it's like a trip they go on or something. The book was a little annoying just because it kind of kept me waiting. Even though it was short, it was like, is it gonna happen? No. Is it gonna happen? No. But it was cute. I liked it for what it was. Next up was my first Sarah Kate book, which was Praise. It's the Salacious Players Club number 1. Again, spicy book. 5 out of 5. This was my 5 out of 5 for the month. My only 5 out of 5. And I truly loved it. This is just my trope, man. I love the praise. What can I say? It was spicy. That's pretty much what it was. So this was an age gap romance. It was about this woman or younger woman and her boyfriend. They broke up and she actually gets together with his father. So it's spicy. It's fun to read. I'm actually reading the second book in this series. It's very different than the first one, but definitely go check out Sarah Kate. She cannot be slept on because she's so good. I'm so excited to keep going in her books, but I didn't finish all the books because, you know, priorities. I then read The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. This was very intense, very trigger warning. I don't know if this is considered a YA novel. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It is about a girl's story where she struggles with the aftermath of her essay, but it was really intense read. I really enjoyed it. The writing was great. I would definitely recommend this book if you don't mind the subject matter because it is very heavy in the content warnings, and I truly enjoyed it. Like, I love these kinds of books, the deep darkness of it. Definitely check it out. It was really good. Man, I read a lot this month. I know I read a lot last month, but this is like more books than I've read in like a long time. The next book I read was Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. Gave this one a 4 out of 5. This book was so interesting because the beginning was so intense. It's about this woman and man getting kidnapped, and again, trigger warning central, dark romance. And I feel like the beginning was so intense with this kidnapping, with this SA, all this crazy stuff, and then the 2/3 of the rest of the book was like way less intense, and it kind of lost my interest towards the end, not gonna lie, but I still thought it was really good, like written well, and the characters slash character development was really good. So definitely check that out if you're into like dark romance. It was really intense, but I really enjoyed it. I was truly surprised. The next 3 books, I don't know. I only got 1 5 out of 5 this month, and I'm just kind of disappointed. But I read Rock, Paper, Sisters by Alice Feeney. I listened to this one on audiobook, gave it a 3 out of 5. I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to talk about it very much because I don't have a ton to say. It just was one of those ones that dragged on and on and on. Even though I listened to it on audiobook, I still had a really hard time just like reading it in general. It was a thriller book, like a psychological thriller, and there was a plot twist. Okay, next book I read was the Xhex by Erin Sterling, 3 out of 5. This book was in preparation for fall because I'm obsessed with everything fall, but I didn't love it just because it was in third person, not first person. I just have an issue with third person, okay? I don't know what it is. It just does not get me in the headspace for reading the book. Like, I need to hear the person's thoughts, and like, you know, I need to connect on that level. But it was witchy, and it was Halloweeny. I felt like the vibes of that was fun, but other than that, it was kind of boring. I'm like really hard on books. Like, it takes a lot to grab my attention, so this is where we are in my life. And the last book I read this month, not ending this on like the best note, but it's Where Good Girls Go to Die by Holly Renee. Didn't she write something else? Again, listen to this on audiobook. 3 out of 5. What'd she write? Oh, she's written a lot of books. Holy moly, a lot of books. About this girl and boy, and they were in love at one point. It's like her brother's best friend. And then they took a break for like 6 years or something. And then they're all of a sudden back in the same place together. And it's just a story of like their past romance and like what's happening in the now. And I don't know, it just didn't pique my interest. I need books that pique my interest. I'm gonna get upset. So overall, I think I had a pretty good reading month. I'm like proud of myself for getting through so many books, even though they weren't all the best. We got through it. And I'm so excited for next month's read because it's the beginning of fall and I love everything fall. So we will see what I get into. The next video I have coming out is my fall TBR, so definitely stay tuned for that. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of the books that I mentioned in today's video. I'd be super curious to see which ones you liked versus which ones I liked, vice versa. And just let me know all the things in the comments, please. Thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you in my next video, and happy spooky season.